Hi friends, first of all thanks for being in my YouTube channel. Today, as in part of this video, I wanted to explain the poem The Tables Turned written by William Wordsworth. Before we take up the stanzas of this poem, The Tables Turned, we shall try to throw lights over the biography of the poet. Dear friends, it is already said the present poem The Tables Turned was written by William Wordsworth, who spent his life between the years 1717 and 1850. William Wordsworth led the life of 80 long years, in which he produced many tremendous and beautiful pieces of poems. William Wordsworth is a major English romantic poet. He started romantic movement in English literature with the help of another poet, S.T. Coleridge. William Wordsworth and S.T. Coleridge together started a romantic movement in English literature with the publication of lyrical ballads. What is a lyrical ballad? Lyrical ballad is a collection of poems written by romantic poets, and it is just like Geetanjali. We know very well the Geetanjali is a collection of poems written by Rabindranath Tagore. In the same way, lyrical ballads is also a compilation or a collection of poems written by romantic poets. Dear friends, in the earlier section, in the earlier point, it is stated that William Wordsworth is a pioneer. He started romantic movement in English literature. What is a romantic movement? Here, romantic does not relate to love making. So romantic means here expressing one's ideas freely. If you are given freedom, if you are given liberty to express your ideas without any obstructions, that means romantic movement. And if you want to understand the romantic movement, we need to understand the period that existed before this. The period which was in existence before romantic movement in English literature was neoclassic period. Before this romantic movement in English literature, there was neoclassic period. So when we examine the condition of English literature in neoclassic period, the poets, the writers had to follow many rules and regulations in order to produce a piece of poetry. If they want to write a poem, if they want to produce a piece of literary work, they had to follow many rules and regulations. That frustrated them a lot. The poets, the writers in the neoclassic period were unable to express their original ideas that originated in their minds and hearts. Why? Their natural ideas were greatly abstracted. They were highly influenced and disturbed by the rules and regulations in the language. During that period, there were many rules and regulations, and they abstracted their natural, original idea. So, the poets in the neoclassical period could not produce, they could not express the expressions, the ideas, the notions that were originated in their mind and heart. So, their expressions became artificial. Why they became artificial? Because they made many amendments and changes to their original ideas, as they had to follow many rules and regulations that comprises in the literature. Dear friends, it is equal to writing a poem in Telugu language. So if you want to write a poem in Telugu language, you cannot write whatever originates in your mind. Whatever comes into your mind as it is, you cannot write as a poem. Why? If you want to write a poem in Telugu language, we need to arrange all the letters where Lagu has to come, where Guru has to come. We need to follow the principles of Prasa and Yati. So writing poem, it is not at all easy task because of the rules and regulations. And when we examine the language in the neoclassic period, it was very difficult. The diction, the vocabulary which was used in the neoclassic period was very difficult, and the common people, they felt it was very difficult to understand the piece of poetry or a piece of literary work. It means the benefits of literature, the benefits of the literature were unable to enjoyed by the most number of people when it was a neoclassic period. So in neoclassic period, most of the people were not able to enjoy the benefits of the literature because the language in the literature, the vocabulary or the diction in the literature was difficult, very difficult to understand. But when it comes to the romantic movement, the poets or the writers in the romantic movement, they turned against all the rules and regulations, and they questioned them. They questioned all the poets of neoclassic period. What is the use of rules and regulations in the literature? They questioned them, and they bring forth the idea that there is no necessity of rules and regulations if they want to produce a piece of literary work. They determined, they began to avoid what? The rules and regulations. They began to express their original ideas. They began to express the notions, their natural notions, ideas that are originated in their mind. They are given liberty. They are given liberty to express their natural ideas. They were given liberty. They were given freedom from all the burden, rules and regulations while they want to produce a piece of literary work, and that is what we call romantic movement. There is another great transformation. There is another great change when it comes to a romantic movement. The language has been simplified. Means what? The language which the poets began to use in romantic movement, romantic literature, is very easy. They began to use a very simple diction. They began to use a simple vocabulary so that the majority of the common people can understand and they can enjoy all the benefits of the literature. So the literature began to reach the most number of common people when the romantic movement in English literature was started. And the romantic movement in English literature was started with the publication of lyrical ballads. And the first poem in the lyrical ballads is the present poem, The Tables Turned. So here, the poem The Tables Turned is the first poem which was published in lyrical ballads in the year 1798, with which romantic movement was started in English literature. Okay, when it comes to this present poem, The Tables Turned, here William Wordsworth, he adores, he admires, he praises, and he worships the nature. William Wordsworth is also considered as the nature lover. He is a nature lover. He is a nature's poet. He loves every aspect in nature. He loves every element in the nature. When we examine the poems of William Wordsworth, we can understand that every one of his poems deals with different aspects of nature, so that we can conclude, we can say that he is a great lover, he is a great admirer, he is a great worshipper of nature. Dear friends, when it comes to this present poem, The Tables Turned, William Wordsworth expresses, he reveals, the love of William Wordsworth is clearly seen, it can be clearly identified when it comes to this present poem, The Tables Turned. And moreover, when we talk about the background of this poem, The Tables Turned, it is all about the importance of nature, and he began to explain the importance of beautiful sceneries in the nature to his friend. He began to speak the importance of nature to his friend who is a bookworm. దీనికి నేపథ్యం ఇది, background. In this poem, William Wordsworth speaks to his friend who is a bookworm. Bookworm అంటే ఏంటి? పుస్తకాల పురుగు. William Wordsworth had a friend who was a bookworm. And William Wordsworth thought that he did not like his friend to spend lots of time in reading books. He felt the habit of his friend was not at all good, and it was not at all fair. So he approached his friend and he began to describe the importance of nature. He began to convince that the nature is the real teacher, but not the books or anyone else. What is William Wordsworth speaking to his friend through this poem? We are going to see and have a look at the first stanza, dear friends. The Tables Turned, 1798, and it is already said it was the first poem to be published in the Lyrical Ballads, with which romantic movement was started. We shall take up the first stanza, dears. Up, up, my friend, and quit your books, or surely you will grow double. Up, up, my friend, and clear your looks. Why all this toil and trouble? Dear friends, we can divide the first stanza into two parts. So by dividing the first stanza into two parts, we shall try to focus over the first two lines. Up, up, my friend, and quit your books, or surely you will grow double. So it is already intimated that this is the poem which is spoken by William Wordsworth to his friend who was a bookworm. He approached his friend and he made a suggestion. Up, up, my friend. Come on, stand up from your reading chair. Come out of your reading room. Stand up from your reading chair. Why did you confine yourself? Why did you restrict yourself to the study chair? Come on, up, up, my friend. Stand up from your reading chair and quit your books. Come on, leave your all books. No use. There is no use of your books with what you are making struggle, with what you are struggling. So quit your books. Quit means here, leave your books. William Wordsworth, in the first line, suggested his friend to leave his book and to get up from his reading chair. In the second line, he began to tell him the consequence if he continue to read. What happens? He began to explain the consequence. He began to explain the difficult situation that he would face in the life if he keep on reading the book, sitting and confining himself to the study chair. What is the consequence? What is the difficulty that his friend is going to face if he continuously read books, keeping himself on the study chair? It is clearly explained in the second line. Or you will grow double. Yes, if you don't leave your books, if you don't stand up from your reading chair, if you don't quit reading for the longer hours, surely means definitely you will grow double. Yes, my dear friend, you will suffer from obesity. You will suffer from lots of health issues in future. if you don't quit reading books for many hours, it is a bad habit. You will suffer from many health issues in future if you don't quit your books now. We shall go to the third line. Up, my friend, and clear your looks. Come on, get up from your reading chair. Clear your looks means this is the time in which you have to think clearly and to take the correct decision. Think clearly. Think seriously. Dear friend, stand up from your reading chair. Think clearly and seriously because this is the correct time in which you have to take the correct decision. You have to make a correct decision now, or else your life will be in threat. You will face a lots of consequences. You will face a lots of troubles in the future if you keep on reading books continuously for hours. So clear your looks. Think seriously. Think clearly and seriously and take a correct decision. Why all these toil and trouble? Yes. Do you require all this hard work? Do you require all these difficulties? Yes, my dear friend. You never require. You need not to go under these hard works and troubles. Yes, you are doing hard work. You are working very hard with these books for long hours. You are getting trouble in reading the books. Yes, truly, genuinely, dear friend, you never required these toils and troubles. You never required these hard work for the longer time. You need not to face all the difficulties with the books because there is no use of them. Come on, leave them. అని చెప్తున్నాడు ఫస్ట్ స్టాంజాలో. Shall go to the next stanza. The sun above the mountains hut, a freshening luster mellow, through all the long green fields has spread his first sweet evening yellow. Dear friends, when it comes to the second stanza, we can divide even the second stanza into two parts. First two lines is the first part and the latter two lines are the second part. We shall try to focus over the first two lines of the second stanza. The sun above the mountains had a freshening luster mellow. Okay, my dear friend, leave your books and come along with me. We shall go and watch the beautiful sunsets. Yes, the sun is about to set in the evening. We shall go together. We shall go together and watch the beautiful sun setting scene. Come on, let us see. Come on, have a look. The sun kept himself on the mountain's head. William Wordsworth began to speak to his friend. He began to describe the beauty of the evening sun. He told his friend, my dear friend, you know, the sun kept himself on the mountain's head. And he is shining brightly and pleasantly. Yes, the sun is shining brightly and pleasantly by keeping himself on the head of the mountain. Come on, we shall go and have that beautiful sight. We shall see and go. We shall go and see the beautiful sight that the sun was shining brightly and pleasantly, keeping himself on the mountain's head. Through all the long green fields has spread his first sweet evening yellow. Dear friends, we know very well. The evening sky spreads yellow color first and red color later. So, in the evening time, the sun has spread sweet yellow color. The sun has spread the sweet evening yellow color through all the long green fields. The sun has spread the sweet evening yellow color throughout the long green fields. My dear friend, how marvelous this sight would be to look at. How mesmerizing, how wonderful it would be. Come on, let us go together and watch the beauty of the sun setting. And antunnadu second stanza. So when it comes to the second stanza, William Wordsworth began to describe the beauty of the evening sun or setting sun. Okay, we shall enter into the third stanza. Books, it's dull and endless strife. Come on here, the woodland linnet, how sweet his music. On my life, there is more wisdom in it. See the first line of the third stanza. William Wordsworth began to explain he had a strong opinion about the books. He had a strong opinion and he began to express his opinion even to his friend. Okay, my dear friend, according to me, books are very dull and they are endless strive. Once you started, once you started reading books, there is no ending for your struggle. So, books are very dull. They are endless strive. So, indirectly, the point William Wordsworth wanted to convey his friend that there is no use of the books. There is nothing interesting about books. And he said they are very dull and they are endless strife. In the latter line, he says, come and hear the woodland linnet. How sweet his music. Yes. And now, William Wordsworth is asking his friend to come and listen to the sweet music of the woodland linnet bird. Yes, what is the linnet? Linnet is a bird. Linnet is a bird which resides usually in the forest area. Now, William Wordsworth is asking his friend that they should go to the forest to listen to the sweet music of the linnet bird. Woodland linnet means linnet bird which lives in the forest area, sings it produces a melodious music, sweet music. And here he suggested his friend that they should go and listen to the sweet music of the woodland linnet, forest bird, linnet bird. Okay. On my life. See this one. On my life means I am making a strong oath. It's my promise, my dear friend. Who is making a promise here? William Wordsworth is making a promise to his friend. So what kind of promise is he making? We shall see in the latter lines. Okay. On my life, there is more wisdom in it. Yes, there is a plenty of wisdom. There is a plenty of wisdom in the music of the little linnet bird. There is a more knowledge. There is a more knowledge that you cannot find in your textbooks. Come on, leave your textbooks. We shall go and listen to the sweet music of the woodland linnet bird because there is a more wisdom in it. Promise. You can grab more wisdom from the sweet music of the woodland linnet bird, said William Wordsworth to his friend. He made a promise. Yes, it's my strong oath. It's my promise that you can grab a lots of wisdom. You can grab more wisdom when you listen to the melodious or the sweet music of the woodland bird, he said. And when we go to the next stanza, and hark, how blithe the throstle sings. He too is no mean preacher. Come forth into the light of things. Let nature be your teacher. And when it comes to the next stanza, William Wordsworth began to speak. He began to describe the melodious songs of throstle. What is a throstle? Throstle is also a small medium-sized bird. He began to describe the sweet music, the melodious music of the throstle bird. Hark means what? Listen carefully. Dear friend, listen carefully. Lend your ears. How happily, how pleasantly the bird throstle is singing. And the bird throstle is not less than a preacher. The bird throstle is not less than a preacher. A preacher, he preaches what is good and what is bad. He guides you to go in the correct path. Here, when you listen to the sweet music of the throstle, when you listen to the pleasant singing of the bird throstle, you know we will be in the correct direction. That keep us in the correct decision. So, singing of the throstle, the singing of the bird throstle is not less than a preacher. That means here William Wordsworth compared the bird throstle to a preacher. Compare చేశాడు ఇక్కడ preacher ని bird throstle ని. So according to William Wordsworth, the word throstle is not less than a preacher. It may be higher, it may be more. That he too is not mean preacher, less than a preacher. Come forth into the lights of things. Come on, come forward. Come forth means here, come forward. He is asking his friend to come forward. Where? Under the light of things. He's asking his friend to come under the real knowledge. What is the real knowledge? So according to William Wordsworth, one can grasp, one can get the real knowledge if one is ready to spend his life in the nature. So come forward, my dear friend, come forward, come along with me under the real, to get the real knowledge, please come forward with me. Let nature be your teacher. Come on, make the teacher as your teacher. Make nature as your teacher. So he is asking his friend to allow. He is asking. William Wordsworth is asking his friend to allow nature as his friend. So if you allow nature as your teacher, the nature will teach you many things. It gives you the abundant knowledge that you cannot get anywhere from. So, and he made a promise. So we shall take up the next stanza. She has a world of ready wealth, our minds and hearts to bless. Yes, our minds, our hearts will be blessed with plenty of wealth. Our mind and hearts will be blessed with a plenty of wealth that the nature has already prepared for us. Yes, according to William Wordsworth, the nature has spared. The nature has already arranged everything for the man. The simple thing we have to do is to go and grab it. The simple thing we have to do is to go and get it. The nature has prepared everything. The nature has prepared every kind of property for the human beings, and it is ready to bless our mind and heart. And how our minds and hearts will be blessed? What are the different properties William Wordsworth is talking about? We will see in the next latter lines. She has a world of ready wealth. Who is she here? Nature. Nature has a wealth of ready, the world of ready wealth. Our mind and hearts to bless. And what kind of wealth the nature has for the man? It is explained in the latter two lines. Spontaneous wisdom breathed by health, truth breathed by cheerfulness. Yes, if you are ready to spend your life in the nature, if you are ready to accept the nature as your teacher, our minds and hearts will be blessed with plenty of properties like health and cheerfulness. So health and cheerfulness, they are priceless. Both are priceless. We cannot buy cheerfulness. Cheerfulness means happiness. We cannot buy happiness. And we cannot buy health. So these costless items, these costless properties can be blessed for the human beings by the nature if they prefer to lead their life in the lap of the nature. So here William Wordsworth wanted to say that the human beings should try to spare their time in the nature. They should try to lead their life in the nature so that we will enjoy the lots of property which is there, and the properties in the form of health and in the form of happiness. And when we go to next stanza, there he says, one impulse from a vernal wood may teach you more than of man. Yes, the spring season forest. When you visit the spring season forest will teach you more of man. We will learn more of man. We will learn more about man when we visit a spring seasoned forest. The forest in spring season. You know very well, we are living in a society which contains different people with different attitudes and behaviors. Sometimes we feel frustrated. Sometimes we feel it is very difficult to understand our fellow men. But here, William Wordsworth says, you can understand your fellow man. You can understand your friend. If you visit, if you prefer to visit forest in the spring season. So the spring season to forest. The forest in the spring season will teach you more of man so that you may feel very easy and you may lead your life so happily and cheerfully with your fellow men. And if you are ready to watch, if you're ready to learn from the spring season to forest, there is a lot to learn from the spring season forest, William Wordsworth is saying. Of moral evil of good than all the sages can do. Yes, the vernal wood means the spring season to forest will teach you what is good and what is bad. It teaches you what is good and what is bad more than a sage. ఒక ఋషి ఒక ముని చెప్పేదానికంటే నీకు మంచి చెడు గురించి ఎక్కువగా చెప్తుంది. వాట్ ద స్ప్రింగ్ సీజన్ టు ఫారెస్ట్. హియర్ వుడ్ మీన్స్ forest. Vernal means spring season. Okay, the forest in the spring season will teach you what is good and what is bad. And it teaches you more than a sage can. ఒక ఋషి కంటే ఎక్కువగా చెప్తుంది మనకి చెప్తున్నాడు ఈ స్టాంజాలో. And when we go to the next stanza, sweet is the lore which nature brings. Lore means here traditional knowledge. Yes, the nature always brings us the traditional knowledge. And the traditional knowledge is always sweet. According to William Wordsworth, the nature brings us the traditional knowledge, and the traditional knowledge which is brought by the nature is very sweet. Yes, sweet is the lore which nature brings. The traditional knowledge which is brought by the nature is very sweet. Our meddling intellect misshapes the beauty forms of the things we murder to dissect, right? So here William Wordsworth is speaking about the destruction caused by the human beings to the nature. We are causing lots of disturbance. We are causing lots of damage to the nature. Yes, God has created the nature to enjoy its beauty, but we are misshaping. What we are misshaping? We are misshaping the beauteous forms of the things. We are misshaping, we are destroying many beautiful things in the nature. For example, God has given us the peacock to enjoy its beauty while it dances. But here, when we learned the sciences, when we studied all the sciences, we came across the meat of peacock is good for health. Then what we do? We, instead of enjoying the beauty of peacock, we just try to kill it and we try to consume the meat of the peacock. That means we are destroying the creatures. Instead of enjoying them, we are just consuming them. We are destroying them. So that is what he said in the third line of this stanza. Misshapes the beauty forms of the things. So we are greatly disturbing, we are destructing the natural beautiful elements we murder to dissect. Yes. So in the name of experiments, in the name of inventions, we have been dissecting all the creatures. We have been dissecting and examining carefully every part. So if you prefer to examine every part of a creature, that is what we call dissect. We are killing even the frogs. In the name of dissection, we are killing the frogs. And the frogs are also the beauty. They are also beautiful creatures in the nature. So directly or indirectly, the human beings are causing a lots of destruction. We are causing lots of damage to the nature, and which is not good. This is not good part of the human being, saying William Wordsworth. Enough of science and arts. Enough of science and of arts. Okay. So whatever the science studies and art studies you have read, enough, sufficient. Leave them aside. Keep them aside. Close up those barren leaves. Here, barren leaves, he compared. William Wordsworth compared the pages of your science and arts books as barren leaves. He compared the pages of your books. He compared. William Wordsworth compared the pages of your books as though they are barren leaves. Endipoina akulu. Because there is no use. If you study the barren leaves, if you swallow those barren leaves, you will get no benefit. So, leave all those barren leaves. ఎండిపోయిన ఆకులన్నీ కూడా మీరు పక్కన పెట్టేసేయండి. Come forth means come forward. Leave all those barren leaves. Leave all those useless papers, useless books. Come forward and bring with you a heart that watches and receives. Yes. Leave your books. Leave your useless books and come forward. Come along with me. And remember, when you are coming, don't forget to bring your heart with you. When you are coming physically, and don't come physically into the nature. So while you are coming, take your heart also. Come into the forest or come into the nature along with your heart that can observe the beauty of the nature, that can watch and receive the beauty of the nature. So, if you are a man without heart, you cannot enjoy anything. If you are a man who prefer to live in the nature without heart, you cannot receive and you cannot enjoy, you cannot watch, you cannot perceive anything in the nature. So, William Wordsworth is asking his friend, come on, bring your heart when you are coming into the nature and bring the heart that watches and receives the beauty of the nature. So, this is the poem The Tables Turned by William Wordsworth. Thank you for watching till the end, dear friends. If you liked this video, I request you to subscribe my channel and support me. Thank you, friends. Bye.